Salvete discipuli. So today's lesson is a review of first declension nouns. So this is chapter 2 of Wheelock's Latin. So let me review some things about nouns. First and foremost, Latin nouns have case, number, and gender, right? The gender can be masculine, feminine, or neuter. They can be singular or plural. But the most important thing to know is, of course, the case of a noun, because that's going to tell you how the noun functions in the sentence, okay? It can be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative, or vocative. There's actually another case called the locative that you're not going to learn until next year. So Latin nouns follow a pattern of endings called a declension. There are 5 declensions in Latin. You will be learning all of them this year, but today we're only reviewing the first declension. Now, you can tell what declension a noun is in based on the ending in the genitive singular. So all first declension nouns have an I ending in the in the genitive singular. Second declension have a long I ending, E. Third have an IS ending, is. Fourth has a long US ending, us. And fifth, AE, okay? So first declension nouns specifically. First declension nouns are mostly feminine, but there are some very important exceptions to that. There are some first declension masculine nouns. 3 of the most common are agricola, which means farmer, nauta, which means sailor, and poeta, which means poet. There are also other ones like pirata, right, with pirate, or an atleta, an athlete, so on and so forth. You put first declension endings onto the noun base, and that's how you decline a noun. Now, how do you get the noun base? You have to remove the ending from the genitive singular. Okay, so you take the genitive singular ending off, and what you're left with is the noun base. Now, the only reason why you can do this is because when you learn nouns for your vocab, you learn the dictionary entry for nouns. You learn the nominative singular, the genitive singular, and the gender. You learn all 3 of these parts because that's what you need to be able to fully decline the noun and also make adjectives match the noun, okay? And I give you an example of this dictionary entry. Fortuna, fortunae, feminine. This first form is the nominative singular, the second one is the genitive singular, and the third, obviously F, feminine, is the gender. So a little review of how we use the cases. The nominative case is used for a subject or a predicate nominative. The genitive case is used to show possession. Dative, indirect object. Accusative is the direct object and the object of some prepositions, and we'll talk a little bit more about those prepositions as we move through the year. Ablative is the object of some prepositions but can also be used independently, and all these different uses of the ablative have different names, and again, we're going to learn those throughout the next 2 years. You use the vocative to address someone. So there you go. The first declension endings, these are the endings you're going to add onto the noun base in order to fully decline a first declension noun. I, and this is a very important macron. This is a macron you have to have on that ending or else you get it wrong. I, is, as, is, I. And again, you have to have the macrons on the dative and ablative plural, and you'll know why when we get to chapter 7. And then a little review of how we translate according to case, okay? So let's do a couple paradigms of this. Fortuna, okay? So I want you to write this out in your notes. Fortuna, fortunae, fortunae, fortunam, fortuna, fortuna. Fortunae, fortunarum, fortunis, fortunas, fortunis, fortunas, and then how to translate them appropriately. And I will be checking your notes to make sure these things are in there. Again, one of the best ways to memorize Latin endings is to write them out over and over again. It helps cement them in your brain. I'm also a big fan of chanting too, which we will do in class. Remember that there are some masculine first declension nouns, but their declension is no different than a feminine first declension noun. It's still I, is, as, is, I. So again, you should have poeta down in your notes, but you'll notice these endings are exactly the same regardless of gender. Remember that adjectives describe nouns and they must agree in gender, number, and case. Now, since we've only reviewed first declension nouns, you are only going to know how to form feminine adjectives because feminine adjectives follow the first declension nouns. But the masculine adjectives describe all masculine nouns, including first declension masculine. So for right now, you do not have to match an adjective with the masculine first declension because we haven't reviewed those endings yet, okay? And again, I have a little example for you. We're a little cut off here. There, I moved it. Fortuna bona, so good fortune, okay? And I have a full declension here, which you should write out in your notes, and review how to match the adjective with the noun. Okay, so that is your lesson for tonight. Make sure you have all of this in your notes, not just what you saw, but what you heard as well. And I will see you then. Have a good night.